Hello firearms friends, we're here on Friday to show you some things coming up tomorrow on day 2 of our December 8th, 9th, and 10th premier firearms auction. 2 groupings of firearms today, some sporting arms, that in the sporting arms they're the same planet but they are different worlds. And the first 2 are from the Norman Blanc collection, and if you've been watching some of our videos, reading our content, you know that they are high art European pieces. And first and foremost is this beautiful piece. Now, you don't have to know that this is Bohemian in origin. You don't have to know some of the Germanic styling. You don't have to even know that typically, if of this region, you're gonna have an octagonal swamped barrel, and this one's, of course, 2-stage round and flared at the end. All you have to know is the artistry, and when you look at it. And this is an exceptional sporting arm. Like I said, it has a very unique barrel for its region, but it especially gets interesting when you come down past that 2-stage band and you see this remarkable chiseled breech end of our barrel, if it of course had a breech, being a flintlock. Remarkable work on the side plates. Of course, being a sporting arm filled with sporting and game scenes, stags, men on the hunt, Athena, eagles, just stunning. And of course, it's in so much stunning bright gold. You have these pierced metalworks. I'll flip it around, and you can see our plate on the other side. Tons of piercings. Of course, very distinct style. Even on our, like, escutcheon on the wrist here, you have a portrait, a small portrait of a face, all the way down our plate here, our toe plate, even on our patch box. It's an exquisite piece. The trigger guard has not been left out. Gold sights, swan neck, cock placed here on the right-hand side, of course. What I think I appreciate the most, though, is the small details you see here, especially as it goes into its comb and the cheek piece here, of the carving of the stock, which, if you are familiar with American long rifles, especially in this, 18th century, very early American art, you can see it's no mystery where they received its influences, the origins, and it's in these European sporting arms. It is exactly the type of high condition, high art European antique that you would expect from the Norman Blanc collection. Oh, and previously it's in the Keith Neal collection, so quite a heritage on this sporting arm. Next, another one from the Norman Blanc collection. Another sporting arm, but not as small or delicate. Now, most times when we're talking about a Nock firearm, most people think Henry Nock. They immediately think the volley gun, whether that's from the movie The Alamo or any other time you've seen it. They're pretty impressive. But he made other sporting arms as well. And this is a Henry Nock flintlock 4-bore dangerous game stopping rifle. When it was sitting on the rack with this giant Damascene barrel, I expected I was going to have to use 2 hands to heft it up. It is remarkably light for how sizable this barrel is. And of course, it has all the finest you would expect of a gun maker, of a European gun maker making guns in this era. You have this lovely little gold band here at the back of your barrel, H. Nock London maker's mark here. Silver little furniture squares, even a gold pan, a gold touch hole, a little silver escutcheon back here, checkered wrist, of course, a thick, massive wrist to deal with the recoil that's undoubtedly going to be dished out by a Henry Nock 4-bore. Henry Nock, clearly a fan of some serious firepower, and I don't think this metal butt plate would have been very forgiving, but a lovely carved cheek piece here. Again, gold, Damascene, 4-bore, flintlock, firepower, and of course some fire blue on the back here as well. Very attractive gun. 2 very different sporting arms, both from the Norman Blanc collection, both European origin, both very desirable antiques. Let's take a look at some more modern sporting arms, just as attractive. And as they say, now for something completely different. But as we mentioned before, same planet, different worlds. Looking before at European flintlocks, high art from the Norman Blanc collection. Here are some American sporting arms with artistry to rival it. Of course, we're talking 20th century, but I walked past this rack of about 4 Model 42s, Winchester 42s, the classic 410 bore shotguns, and they're stunning. I walked past some of these scenes, and then I saw the telltale mark of Angelo B on here. I think it's some of his best work that I've seen come through Rock Island Auction Company. You can see some of these panel scenes. This is probably my favorite one, so I'm glad I picked it up first. Gold trigger, solid matte barrel, single steel bead here at the end, and checkering. I mean, before we get into all the Angelo B work, we can talk about the high grade wood. This is deluxe wood, and the checkering on here that almost wouldn't be out of place. It's reminiscent of some of the Grand Americans in the Model 21. So really, really nice work on these 42s, and the panel scenes by Angelo B are just chef's kiss. So we have these, this side is 3 gold relief doves set on almost this coin metal with a golden border. So much scroll work going around here. It's excellently done scroll work. Jeweled bolt, of course. But while there's so much scroll work, because this is so vibrant and set off, almost raised from the scroll work, it doesn't distract from it. Other side, just as lovely, with 3 pheasants on the wing from a field with the barbed wire fence here, just where you'd expect to see them, in their natural habitat. We have a full choke indicated in gold, even engraving down our trigger guard. Everything about this 42, and we could say that almost about every one, except for our next one, which is a Model 42 as well. This is a double diamond trap grade, as indicated right there underneath the serial number on the other side. As you can see, little less ornamentation on this, but for some of us who enjoy a more stock looking shotgun, this is what the doctor ordered. Of course, the double diamond, the elongated forearm, exactly as it should be. That is correct. Matte solid barrel again with the bead and a red front. Unusual for this one, for it to have a solid rib, and it's also set to a skeet choke. So to see that on a 42, that's a trap grade. This is an unusual combination, and despite the amount of gold and ornamentation from Angelo B on the other 3, this, with no gold, no factory engraving, or no post-factory engraving whatsoever, has the highest estimate of the 4. So a little bit of a surprise, but just a classic 42 double diamond. Next comes our 42, another skeet choke, probably the most gold out of the set of 4. Again, birds on the wing from that a pointer has flushed, again with the jeweled bolt. Lots of gold outlines here around almost anything that could be outlined. Engraving that continues up the barrel, fine wood, and again with the patterns in our checkering, kind of reminiscent of the Grand Americans. Almost a holographic piece of wood, the way that catches the light in those various layers. It's a really stunning piece. On the other side, we have several doves being flushed by a fox, and again this copious scroll work that, despite being so copious, doesn't distract from these very distinct panel scenes. And it looks like we have a clay pigeon here at the very back of our rib. We have serial numbers indicated in gold. Just, there's a lot of detail there, and Angelo B has done a spectacular piece on this Model 42. Oh, and with the ventilated rib and engraving and a gold inlay up here, and that's a ventilated rib from Simmons as well. Last but not least, classic 42. This one doesn't have as much gold on the receiver per se, but we have almost every marking set in gold. So again, even down to the muzzle with a gold inlay, gold bead, ventilated matte rib, every gold marking, even the Winchester proof marks are in gold, full choke, the chambering. I also enjoy this when we look at the underside. So besides, again, these panel scenes that are outlined and set on this very distinct coin metal finish, here we have a little quail right at the bottom of your magazine tube. And even the bottom of the trigger guard has a little Gamble's quail down there. Same story. Beautiful piece of wood, wonderfully checkered, extensive engraving. The punch dots are so fine, and the texture is just fantastic. I could look at these a long time. Better yet, you could look at these a long time in your gun room and take time to appreciate everything for being a 42, a little 410 bore. There's a lot to appreciate on these. That's why I picked them up as some of the sporting arms that are going to be available on day 2 too. Make sure you head over to rockislandauction.com, check out any of the sporting arms or any of the fantastic firearms that are going to be available in our December premier firearms auction tomorrow. That's December 9th. Good luck on all your bids. Until next time, keep your powder dry.